The last one is, as a corporate leader, as a business owner, and as an entrepreneur, you should be empathetic to both your customers and your employees, to your vendors, partners, and investors as well. You should be able to put yourself in everyone's shoes and understand and think their priorities, why they are saying what they're saying, why they're doing what they're doing. You should be able to predict that and take actions, take decisions accordingly, so that everybody's concern is addressed for, right? So empathy is the best way forward, and everybody knows about empathy. As I said at the beginning of the video, the problem is not your knowledge. You know everything. The problem is the CAG, knowledge action gap. There is a huge gap between what you know and what you're doing. This is the time for closing that gap, reducing that CAG, right? So for example, empathy story, I remember, the best example that I remember is from a friend called PK. PK has around 25 years of experience in the world, in the corporate world. And when he was searching for his second job a long time back, he initially was not getting enough calls. Then he started getting a few calls, and he was interviewed for a couple of roles, and he received an offer letter, right? But by the time he received the offer letter, there was a bad news in the family. His father was identified with cancer. Now, as the only boy, I think, he didn't have any clue how to deal with that scenario. So he was going through a very turbulent time, very turmoil situation where he didn't know what needs to be done. At the same time, he receives this offer letter and he was invited to join the company. He didn't know what to do, whether to join, whether not to join, but he waited for the call from the company and he explained his scenario to that HR, right? After a couple of days, he receives a call from the company. He was asked to go and meet the India head and the department he was supposed to join, the department head in that company. He was supposed to meet them. He goes there and he had kind of made up his mind that he was not ready to accept this offer. He cannot accept this offer due to his family situation, whatever is happening in the family. But to his surprise, when he went there, the India head of that company, I think the company was IVS, and the India head at that time was Toby Sparrow. He was with Mukundam Sundaran, I think that's what his name is. They both were waiting for PK. So PK enters and they ask him, so how are things at home? And PK is like, I mentioned that things are not well, I don't know exactly what to do. Toby handed over the offer letter and said, PK, this is the offer letter, right? We understand exactly what you are going through. So what we are offering is an offer letter which does not have a joining date. You take as much time as you need to fix things at home and make things proper. And when you think you are ready, put a date, joining date on that offer letter and send it to the HR. And as per PK, this one event has impacted his entire career and made him an empathetic person, an empathetic leader, right? So you got to influence life in turbulent times when nobody knows what is right, what is wrong. The best practices of the market, the best practices of the company have stopped working. You need to be empathetic, right? You need to break a few rules and create a few new rules. That's what you are supposed to do as a fourth strategy, and be empathetic. So 4 strategies, as I promised at the beginning of the video. First one is clarity. Bring clarity to your team member, to your employees, and tell them exactly what is happening, exactly what they can expect and not expect. The second one was priority. Use tools like VA and VA analysis, as I shared, to clearly differentiate the top 20% or the vital few that is producing results, substantial amount of result for your company, and from the trivial many or the 80% of the activities that is not producing any result. Stop your employees from wasting time into those activities, okay? The third strategy was vulnerability. Don't tell your employees, ask them what needs to be done, right? Basically utilize the intellectual property intelligence that is at your disposal, okay? And the fourth strategy is be empathetic.